Hey. Yeah, that's right. Got your attention now. Well, figured I'd do a bit of story time, as I've got these two finished and I haven't actually showed you the completed thing unless you watch shorts, which, well, don't blame me if you don't. But I was thinking I should update as well, because it's just like looking at these pieces together, there's like several years between, well, 2 years between them. But it just sort of brings me back to something someone said a long time ago, which kind of upset me at the time, because it was just like, if you only knew. But I showed them a bunch of work and they turned around to me and was like, "Are you schizophrenic?" I was like, "No, God no." It's like I just have spent, 10 years before art hanging around with crazy people, associating with crazy people. And as I say, there's just, I don't tend to pull from it too often because I like to create beautiful things, try and create some beauty out of the chaos. But it made me laugh, especially at the time, because it was just like, I think I honestly just laughed at the bloke, because I was just like, you don't have a clue, right? Because I had to, well, as I mentioned in the previous video, my parents had grown and smoked cannabis for 20 odd years, only little enough for them and a few friends. But at the time the bloke said this, it was like I had to go and destroy my dad's grow room because of their divorce, essentially. And he was too much of a pussy to actually be responsible for. And that's the thing, like, I didn't want to. I was doing my bachelor's degree at the time. It was like I had to take myself away to go and destroy something that was illegal so that it didn't get either of them in trouble, because, the reality of that kind of thing is like, yeah, it's a crazy thing to do, it's a crazy level of fuckery, and I get it. When you're dealing with a pathological liar, you got to kind of stretch the realms of reality to attempt to get some sort of resolution. But as I say, I didn't explain any of this at the time because, well, when you're going through it, you don't really want to stop and be like, well, actually, I may not be crazy, but I deal with crazy people all the fucking time. But yeah, the whole fucking situation was just mental, and it's like, looking at these two, it just kind of reminds me of that, because it's like the two very different pieces. And some might say, they're very sort of rudimentary comparative to the new day over there, because, well, yeah, as much as I love creating beautiful things and spending time and energy creating beautiful things, it's a bit disingenuous, like, whilst it's who I am aspiring to be, it's like, it would just be silly not to draw from my experiences, because, well, it's worked for so many artists. And at the same time, it's like, well, it's just the way my mind works, it's the unfortunate nature of being around crazy people, is it wears off on you. Not completely, but it does, like, and this is why for art, I've not really talked about it, I've not really mentioned it, because I'm not that person anymore. I've grown up and fucking changed so much since I started doing this, but, like, every so often, as like people or situations or circumstances from the past will pop up because, yeah. Unfortunately, I am far from perfect. And, yeah, made a lot of mistakes and upset a lot of people along the way because, well, the other thing with associating with crazy people is you get tarred with the same brush. And whilst, like, for me, a lot of it was just, I learned at a young age it keeps people away. For a lot of the people, it's like, they will avoid you just because you're associated with crazy people. Or a lot of the time, make up entire fabricated realities because the person you were associating with has done something crazy, so therefore you must have because you were there. And it's like, yeah. Life is a strange thing, but like I say, you live and you learn. It's just, yeah. Looking at these two pieces sort of made me laugh because it's like, the stories, fucking hell. Getting in trouble for stealing weed off your own parents and then, like, by stealing it and selling it back to them. Like, some of the shit when I was growing up, it was just mental. Actually, just mental. But as I say, it's like, periods in time, you know, like, which is why, as I say, when doing my BA, it kind of sent me off the rails while I still achieved the BA by the skin of my teeth. It's like, kind of put me off doing more academia because it's just so much time and so much money for a bit of paper. And whilst you do learn a lot and you do become a better person for it, it's like, It's the having to justify and explain every single little thing with art, especially because, well, with such a wealth of knowledge and experience, it's any wonder why my style and the sort of themes vary so wildly. Prime example. £1 million Pikachu. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting because it's like I say, you look at it now and it's like, I can kind of see it, you know, like, as much as I like working in abstract, I do like dabbling in figurative stuff from time to time. And then when I've actually got time and space and thought to actually create things, I tend to just do things as childish as possible because who gives a shit? Like, in the nicest possible way. Some of what is regarded as great art in the modern world is, well, yeah, not the most technically advanced. I don't know how you quite put it without being insulting, so I'm just going to shut the fuck up. Probably best not to open that rabbit hole. But yeah, that's kind of why I just did these two pieces, because it's like, it's a bit of fun. Like, this one's a kind of an analogy for life, or metaphor for life, you know. Playing a game that feels very much rigged and massive pits of despair to watch out for. And yeah, bit of classical art. Classical modern art, should I say. And then this one's just, yeah, silly. Silly for the sake of silly, and while referencing some, crazy culture and or lack of education in the world. I don't know. Could be some of that. Could be some of that. Who knows? But yeah. bit of fun, bit of silly, and like I say, a bit of a story because, there's so many, but like I say, I'd rather focus on positive things than working towards turning the installation into a reality. So if you want to help towards that, there is one kid's book available. Yeah. Just trying to think of, I do have prints and products as well, but as I say, yeah. Need to focus on actually getting rid of some canvases first because, well, yeah. Got to exhibit them or sell them at some point. Because what's the bloody point otherwise? So yeah, if you like either of these two, hit me up. Unfortunately, it's going to have to be between 50 and 100 grand minimum because of the project. Like I say, if I'm selling everything, it's got to be for a price that actually makes sense and means that I can actually do that sooner rather than later. Yeah, like I say, check description. I will add links and yada yada yada. You get the score. You want more content like this? Let me know. Like, share, all that jazz. Best way to show how you enjoy these sort of things, and let me know your thoughts on these two pieces because whilst yes, they are a bit childish and a bit scrappy, I kind of like them. There's something kind of right about it. I don't know. Because, as I say, I'm not a classically trained artist. I'm far from it. So, as much as I attempt to aspire to do these things, it's like, I've got a lot to learn. And let's face it, takes way too much time and effort to create something that doesn't quite land. Whereas, well, have fun. Enjoy the process. Should probably put a date on this one as well. Oops. Yeah. I'll be back. Till the next time. Make sure to subscribe,